Good morning, good afternoon, good evening, whatever time you're watching or listening to this, and welcome to another episode of Behind the Bell, proudly sponsored by Champs Boxing Store and in association with the British and Irish Boxing Authority. Now, this week we're joined by Matt. Hi, Matt. How you doing, mate?
How's it going, Lee? You all right, mate?
And tonight we're joined by professional boxer and Checkmate Promotions' newest signing. It's Ashley Hedges. Hi, Ashley. Welcome to the show.
How you doing, guys? Thanks for having me.
Did you have a good Christmas before we start?
Yeah, man, fantastic. It was more about the kids. It's not about me anymore. Do you know what me and the missus always say? You've already got everything. You don't need nothing more. So there we go. I'm just happy to have gas and electric on the meter, I tell you.
So, but before we start, Ashley, congratulations on your last win. Your boxing your body shots that you finished him with was unreal. Your composure was probably one of the best things I've seen. But we're going to start at the very beginning with you, mate. So where did it all start for you?
Do you know what? It's kind of a weird one because I grew, obviously born in the 90s. I grew up through a fantastic era of boxing. So obviously you got like Lennox Lewis, you got the back end of Tyson and stuff as well. And there was no real interest in boxing back then at all. And I so regret that now, because I think if I'd have got into it then, I'd have got into boxing in my teens. It would have been something that I would have been like, yeah, let's absolutely go for this. But I only actually started boxing 5 years ago. So that started all because a very, very good friend of mine, a late friend of mine, is no longer with us, unfortunately. He was actually diagnosed with stage 3 cancer. And so obviously what ultra white collar was in its prime. It was absolutely everywhere. There was ads everywhere for it and stuff. And I thought, you know what? I want to do something. I want to raise some sort of awareness. I want to seem as if I'm doing something. And I thought, you know what? He's a fighter. I can be a fighter. He's battling every single day. So I'm going to put myself through something that shows I'm going to battle. And it was my way of sort of showing, I'm here for you, mate. I'm fighting for you as well. I'm making people aware of what's going on. And yeah, it just sort of stemmed from there. And yeah, that was difficult to go from not doing any type of boxing. It's like you can say to people, a lot of people say, oh yeah, I'm fit. You put them in a boxing gym and within 10 minutes, like, you're done. It's one of the words. You're smashed. You're absolutely crashed down, and you sort of think to yourself, how do people do this? Like it's unbelievable. And it was the things with the ultra white collar is they teach you very fundamental basics. It's a lot more about defense. They don't, because it's a charity show, they don't really want to be showing everyone how to be super aggressive and stuff like that, because they've got to protect the participants. It needs to be enjoyable, doesn't it? So went through that, won my first charity fight with a second round stoppage. I actually watched it back the other day, and oh my God, I struggled to watch it. The craziness, the flaring arms, the lack of defense, the no head movement, all the little things that a lot of people take for granted in boxing. Like you say, you're going back to your fundamentals and all the basics. It's being able to keep your guard high, sitting behind a jab, basic head movement, and picking your shots, and obviously, like you said, composure, keeping calm. As soon as that bell went in them ultra white collars, mate, everything you've learned over them 8 weeks goes straight out the window. Yeah.
So our very own Lee, this is how me and Lee met. I used to train him for his ultra white collar fight.
Oh wow.
So I wanted to step around as well. And this is what I don't understand, what I was going to ask next. Where did that then lead on to carry it on? Because like I done it, loved it. Got the thing, but no, never again. That was 4 years ago. I'm retired with a 100% record. So where did that carry on for you to want to carry on going?
So for me, that was 5 years ago. It was around December. Funnily enough, it was December the 9th, 5 years ago. And then the fight, obviously, you guys saw me on was December the 9th. So it was a clear 5 years from the day that I stepped in the ring. It was actually mad. So I got home from that event and I had friends round and we're all having a good laugh, and they were telling me how well I looked and stuff like that. I thought, you know what? I've come so far in the 8 weeks. and I absolutely love this. I'm like a sponge. If I get into something, I just absorb it, and I want to do it, and I want to do it even more. So the same night that I'd won my fight, I signed up for the next one straight away.
Yeah.
And it was in between waiting for those training camps to actually start up again that the Anthony Joshua Klitschko fight happened.
Right.
Now that fight for me is still the best fight I have ever seen. Not just of Anthony Joshua, just of in general. Like I was out on a mate stag do, and I left to go and watch the fight. And I went back in and picked it back up afterwards before the after party. And I think I watched it before I went out, watched it once I got back with the guys, watched it again the next day, and it was just, it was like I said, it was watching two heavyweights, two very athletic guys go for it, and you saw ups and downs and turns and twists, and you saw AJ drop for the first time, but then you see him go into recovery, then you see him come back, and then you see Klitschko start to put the pressure on, and it was just, I was amazed of what these guys were doing. And I just thought to myself, I was like, I want some of that. That would scare most people away, because boy, if you're not used to taking big shots or being worked, it's a wake-up call when it happens.
Yeah.
So for me, it was just like, right, I'm going to stick into this. I want to get to, well, not say their level, but I want to get myself up a level. So obviously got in, waiting for the camp of the second fight. And whilst I was in training at the time, that was when my friend actually passed away.
Right.
And that was it was tough. I mean, that was the first time I'd ever lost a friend that I was so close to. And it absolutely devastated me. It actually took me out of the 8-week training camp. I think I missed about 3 weeks of it, just because I tried to go into the gym a couple of days after it had happened, and I broke down, because it was just like, the reason I'm in this gym was because I was fighting for him, and it just scrambled my head, and it was just like, no, you know what, I need to stop this for a second. I need to breathe. I need to work out what I really want. And once I'd taken that little break and stuff, I was like, you know what, I'm even more determined now to push myself, to keep going, because I was like, I want to show the world that it wasn't just for him, it was for myself as well. So got back into the training, got into that fight. Even on that night, in fact, I got a massive memorial made up of him, and we hung it from the balcony just above the ring. So as I was walking out for my ring walk, I just locked eyes onto it, and I was like, I know you're with me, and I'm doing this one for you, mate. So I went out there, same again. At this time round, there was an angry side of me that came out. It was a second round stoppage, which, you know what, the fight was, I hate to say it like this because I never take anything away from an opponent, but it was completely one-sided. I weren't letting this guy breathe. Yeah. It was a case of, I'm doing this, and I'm doing it properly, and I'm here to make a point. And so that went really, really well. And then after that, it was a case of, do I sign up for another one? Because there was like a 3-fight limit with the ultra white collar. Once you've done your third one, is like they didn't want you stepping into it again. And it was mentioned to us that there was some like local organisations like white collar, not ultra white collar, obviously, that were floating about. Obviously, I was still very new into the scene, so I was like, what's white collar, but what's not ultra white collar? And it basically said it's the unlicensed boxing side of things. So I was like, oh, all right then. So, taking all the hype that everyone had given me, and me thinking that I was like Muhammad Ali after only 2 charity fights, I thought, yeah, I'm gonna sign up for one of these. And I signed up for a prize fighter, a white collar prize fighter. So it was like, I think it was 8 to 10 fighters, but it was a £2,000 purse at the end of it. And I was like, yeah, I want some of that. Oh, give me some of that. Give me some of that greatness. And I was training in a way a bit half-heartedly, because I wasn't in a boxing gym. So now this was, okay, where do I go? So I was just going down to a local exercise for less that had a boxing ring in it, but I had no coaches, no real guidance, no real understanding of what I was doing. Because I was training with Matt Legg, former heavyweight who fought obviously Anthony Joshua, and he's local to the area I live in, Milton Keynes, and we've known each other for years. So I thought, do you fancy, is there any chance we can train together? Is there a chance you can like train me and stuff? So Matt started taking me through, teaching me a lot of the basics. Again, just because he was opening my eyes to say, like, well, basically, he's like, mate, them charity things are completely different to what you're going to experience once you get into proper boxing. Obviously, like I said, still new into it, didn't really quite understand. I thought, well, it's fighting, isn't it? Is it boxing? It's boxing. It's just like, so I thought, okay, yeah. Got into the prize fighter, and wow, what a shock to the system that was. I mean, I didn't get stopped, but I got put on the canvas twice, and it was just the guy that I was fighting. It was unbelievable. His movement, his composure, the shots he was hitting me with, the way he moved around the ring, the way he composed himself, and it was just, like you said, it was nothing I hadn't ever experienced before. But even in that defeat, I could see where I needed to be. And I'm not somebody who's going to see a tough road and go, no, I don't want none of that. It made me want to work even harder and push even harder and go, do you know what? I'm going to win something. I'm going to win one of these. I'm going to try and do something with myself. So again, back into the gym, training away, signed up for just a standard white collar event. Obviously no prize fight. It's just getting a fight on a card, on a bill. Again, still only training at a local gym, still working with Matt Legg, but still not really understanding the fundamentals of the fitness side of things that needed to be done. It was just 2 pad sessions a week type of thing. So only about 2 hours of pads, but no real difference in from any of that. And signed up to that fight, got all prepared for it, all ready for it. And then we had a head clash within the first 30 seconds of the fight and it got called off. So it was just like, oh my God, it was just like this. This is a bit disheartening. So I was like, right, okay, back to the drawing board. Once we'd got out, the guys were like, what we'll do is we'll set you guys up for a rematch, because they said it was very unfortunate how things go. So once again, back into the local gym, just doing basic pad work again, not really delving deep into the fitness side of things. In a way, I kind of thought in myself, the guy that I just had to draw against, I was like, he didn't really seem like he was on it. He didn't seem like he was ready. So I thought, you know what? I said to myself, I've already won this fight before I even got there. So my training in a way was even worse, because I was thinking I was already jacked out. I thought I'm already better than what I am. I went into that fight, and again, I got danced around. I got broke up. It was a case of, do you know what? This is a tough old road, and it's like, do you know what? I'm still not giving up with this. I've got to take this next step from somewhere. And it was actually the guy that beat me. It was actually his coach who approached me afterwards, and he was like, "Where'd you train?" I said, "Nowhere." He says, "Who's your coach?" I said, "No one." He says, "So you keep signing all these up to yourself?" I says, "Yeah." He said, "You know what, mate?" He says, "You got heart." He says, you've got determination. You've got something in you. It's like, for you to keep coming back and you're not getting the results you're getting, it was like, there's obviously something in you that's keeping you hungry." So it was like, if you're up for it, come and sign up with our gym. It was like, we do training 3 times a week. We've got the base. It was, we've got the formats that you need. We've got the coaches that you'll need, and you'll be in a decent facility. And that was a guy called Ari, who's part of Lonsdale Gym in Bedford.
Right, yeah.
And went down there for the first time, and mate, I was in awe. Walked here, there was heavy bags everywhere, there was a big boxing ring, there was a weight section, and it was just like, okay, this looking a bit better. I'm
home.
I mean, yeah, it's like, I'm home. This is great. And I possibly think for every training session, at some point I was out the window throwing my guts up. Because, like I say, now these guys were pushing the fitness. Now we started to take it to levels where I needed to be. And it was something that I'd never seen before. And I thought to myself, this is hard. This is a lot harder than what it looks like from the outside. But again, I'm a hungry individual, and I'm gonna keep going for this. I want to prove to myself and prove to all the doubters and all the haters out there that I am going to do this. So then we managed to get another fight, and that went a lot better. Didn't get the victory, but we got a draw. But it was that first stepping stone in the white collar scene that shows, right, I've made these changes. These are the changes that have happened in the ring, and now we're one step closer to getting this result. So from then, I took a little bit of a break after that, because it was like I think it was less than every 3 months I was training for another fight. It was like training, fight. Wasn't giving myself the recovery time that I needed to be able to put everything that I needed to put into these camps to be able to get the best result. It was, you can work hard, but you can work too hard, or you can work too much. And back then I didn't really understand that your body needs recovery. It's not one of them ones where you think, oh, I'm aching a bit, I'll just go and I'll punch through it or something. Because I know you got to listen to your body. If you're aching, there's a reason you're aching. It could be muscle fatigue, but then again, it could be your body's looking to repair itself so you can then go on again. So,
but that's important. That's as important, isn't it? Actually, really, like the recovery is just as important in your training. Like, people don't understand that. People don't get that. And the amount of times I've had when I used to teach, the amount of rows I've had with fighters, oh, I'm coming. No, you're not. Go home. Yeah. Do you know? Like, they just don't get it. They don't understand that. They're too like you, Ashley. They're just too hungry. I'll get it, understand it, but at the same time,
you understand the steps of which you've got to take. And so I mean, you've got to do things in a certain way to get to your best ability.
Yeah, that's right. That's right.
So so when I took a bit of a break from that, I got big. I was eating wrong. I was drinking. I was in a bit of a bad place, to be fair. I won't go into too much, but there were a couple of like mental health issues with depression and anxiety and different things that were crowds that I was hanging around with that weren't doing me any good. And it was affecting home life. It was affecting work life. It was affecting my boxing life. It was just affecting everything. So I just, like I said, I got big. I think once I'd got to a point of thinking, oh, I need to do something about myself, I was up to 118 kilos. So you could probably think, you just competed at 87 kilos. So the last fight I just did, I was down at 87. So when the new found me decided I'm going to do something about it, like I said, I was 118 kilos. I was huge. Like, I think what happened was I was just sat there one night. I couldn't sleep, and I was just slumped on the end of the bed. And I just looked at myself, and I was like, "No way!" I was like, "This ain't me. I'm doing something about this." Yeah. And for me, at the time, there was only one thing I knew that was going to help shed the weight, but it was going to keep my mental state of mind in a fighter's mentality to keep going. And that was, right, I'm gonna go back to boxing here. So I contacted Ari again, who at this stage had just passed all of his qualifications to be for a qualified PT and a pad man, and he set up his own ring in his back garden, and he had his whole training facility at his place. So we set up loads of private one-to-ones, and we trained so hard. I mean, unbelievably hard. I thought group sessions were hard, but then when you go one-on-one with somebody and they are pushing you to get you to the best of what they know you can do, there's no corners cutting.
No.
And again, week after week, session after session, sick bag after sick bag. He had this little white bucket that he used to put out ready for me. He's like, "There's your bucket." I said, "You know what, we're calling it Billy." I was like, "Grab Billy the bucket, mate. He's definitely ready." And I was like, it was a couple of weeks went by with that, and then all of a sudden, the sickness in between training has subsided. So it's like, okay, that's another step we're now taking. So the level of intensity starts to step up. So we're thinking, right, now we're starting to make a bit of progress. And it was in that time that we were training that I was in contact with Kelly. And that was when they were putting one of their shows together around Halloween in Northampton. It was like a Halloween scare fest joint thing. Yeah. So we got signed up to that, and they said to me, we're going to put you in with our guy Nico, who was going to be having his debut. And my coach says, like, you know what, that's probably perfect. He said, because you're still looking for your win, but you still haven't really gone the right way about it. So we said, this is going to be your first real test of what we've been doing together. So we trained hard, managed to get myself down to 108 kilos for that fight. So I trained at heavyweight. So we managed to shed 10 kilos in that training camp. Went into that fight for loads more confidence in my ability and what I was understanding of what was going on. Fight started, and within the first 20 seconds, he hit me with a right hand, which I made. A lot of people don't even know this, but he nearly put me out. In their first I went into recovery mode straight away. And it was like, oh my God, it took me about 10, 20 seconds to gather me senses again and get back to what we've been working on. So obviously, you know, I'm a tall guy, I'm 6'3". So it was get behind the jab and use your range, use your height, use your reach, use all these attributes that you've got. And first round, bit ropey. But then after that brief worry of what was going on and will I recover and stuff like that, we went out and we gave strong round 2, strong third round, and we managed to pick up the victory on that. So that was, there we go, we're on the road now. We've got that first W. I can see where we've come from with the benefits of the new training, and and it was just it felt good to actually win something, because you know what, whenever you lose a fight or draw a fight, you sort of just phase off into the changing room, so nobody really wants to know and stuff. But you get that win and people want pictures taken with you, and it's, oh, can I follow you and do this and do that? And it was like, yeah, this is what I wanted, this is what I'm doing it for. It's like, this is the side that I'm enjoying. So it was just a simple case of, from there is keep training. I didn't really take time off, in a way, like in between camps. Is what a lot of people tend to do, to take a good couple of months or so. I normally have about a week off, but then I'd be back in the gym. Yeah. But it was now at the level of where I know this is how you've got to train. You different focus points on different sessions, so you're not going in the gym every day redlining your heart rate. It's right, we're going to do pad work, we're going to do redlining work this week, but then the next day we're going to be focusing on strength and conditioning, and then next session we're going to do pad work, but it's going to be technical pad work, not you just blasting yourself out till you can't stand up no more. So it was then adding them next building blocks on to everything. And it was, we were just picking up fights here, there and everywhere where we could. It was just gaining that ring experience, gaining those little bits. And then I did have another fight. I can't remember for the life of me what the promotion was or where it was, but we got another W. So it was like, right, brilliant. Now we're really on. So now we're now 2-2-2, because it was 6 fights by then. First couple with draws and losses, but then we started getting the W's. And I've got a network of good friends. I love socializing. I'm not a shy character when it comes to going to different events and stuff like that. And one of my friends hit me up, and he says, "Oh, I've got a guy who's looking for a fight, who's looking for a heavyweight fighter, if you're interested." So I've hit him up, and he's gone, "Yeah, we've got a fight night down in Essex. Our guy says that you box and that you're active, and we were wondering if you'd be interested in representing the club." I said, "Yeah, let's go for it." I says, send me all the details, and we'll go from there." And then they sent me the name and they sent me the details and stuff like that. And I watched the guy who was fighting, and I saw that the fight that he won, like previous to me going in there with him, he'd won a belt. And I thought to myself, "Ooh, cockily, I'll put in a ring." He's like, "Is he putting his belt on the line then?" And to my surprise, he turned back and he went, "Yeah." So I was like, "Oh crap, maybe I shouldn't have said that." It's like, damn it. But obviously, from watching the footage of what I saw, I was thinking to myself, I'm better than that. I was like, I'll be able to beat this guy. And they went, yeah, belts on the line and stuff. So I thought, right, this is going to be something. This is going to be tough. I was like, if this guy's a title holder, he's going to be a big fish. He's going to be hard to handle. So we trained like we'd never trained before. This is what I mean. There was always room for improvements. There was always more things that could have done. And this was this was the thing that was making me go even harder now. It was like, right, you can really gain something from this. So we've gone up to Essex. God, the amount of nerves and jitters and stuff I had in them changing rooms, because obviously with it being a title fight, we were on quite late into the night. So it was learning how to hold myself and keep myself going. But I remember on that one, I couldn't even listen to music. Like it was hurting my head. When I put the headphones on, it was too loud, it was too quiet. I just couldn't find that calm place to be. And it wasn't until we started warming up on the pads that it started to relax a bit. I was thinking, yeah, I got this, I can do this. Then waiting for the ring walk, it was like, oh crap, no, I can't do it. I'm not going to be ready for this. Nerves. It was unbelievable. I felt nervous before, but this was something else. It was kind of controlling me. I almost started shaking and stuff. It was crazy. But then we got into the ring, and the bell went, and I just went for the guy. And I managed to, and funnily enough, I hit him with a body shot, which made him curl up in his shell. And I just landed 3 huge uppercuts, like directly to the side of his head. And they gave him a standing count. And I was thinking, right, I'm pumped, I'm ready, I've got this, I can do this. Next thing you know, they've waved it off. The guy didn't want to come back out. So just as much as that, it was, so what was that, 45 seconds? I've just won a belt. Way!
Time.
That's the easiest one I've ever had, type of thing. And it was amazing. But those nerves that I had prior to that fight, it was so funny because I don't even think they managed to put the belt on my shoulder before I'd got out the ring and run to the toilets to throw my guts up. So I'm in there chucking my guts up, and then the coach is coming like, mate, you need to come and get your award. Like, they're waiting for you, like, the whole night's waiting on you. So I was like, all right, cool. So we've gone back in, got that belt, and it was just like, I can't really believe what's just happened, to be fair. That's quite crazy. So once again, back into the gym, and it was from then that I'd met another coach inside that gym who did a class prior to the one that I was training at normally. And he invited me down for a sparring session with his guys. So I went into their sparring session, and boy, that was something different. Like these guys were unbelievable. Like the head movement, the pick of the shots, the calmness, the strength, the fitness, the absolute all round everything of what a boxer was. And it was, they tested me. And it wasn't until a later day that I found out that the coach was like, put it on him. Like to his guys against me, it was like, they were like, put it on him. And they put it on me. And it was basically behind closed doors. It was like, right, let's see if he comes back. And I was there the week after. And he went, right, same again.
Yeah.
Let's see if he comes back.
That's the thing when you go away to spar. Like, it happens every time. like no, he's a new guy. Put it on him. Like, he's not with us. Put it on him. Like, that's what it usually is. I've been taught as a trainer as well. Obviously, I've said the same thing to certain people, not exactly like, right, yeah, no, he's a boxer, put it on him. But if someone comes in with an ego,
yeah,
like thinking that they're Charlie Big Potatoes,
that in a way, that was me. I thought, right, I've got these things, I've done this, and that was it. He said I used to walk around pace cycles, peak, and they were like, right, let's put, like you say, put it on him. Yeah. And that's what it was. And it was, see if he comes back. And it was when I went back after a good couple of times of going back, they were like, okay, he's hungry, he's got heart. Let's train him. Let's make him part of the team, and let's get going. And yeah, that training, them training sessions were unbelievable. I mean, I'm still training technically with those guys at the moment. They're the ones that I've been training with for the last 2 years now, that have kept me active. And no matter what is, they do give you praise, but they'll never praise you when you're training. No. You're always never good enough. Yeah. It's always, whenever you're hitting the bag and you're giving it everything, our coach will turn around to me and go, you even hitting the bag? Or it's like there's one thing that he does on the pads, which is an absolute killer. It's 50 punches above the head. on the pads. So it's stretching the shoulders out. So it'll make you do 50. Then it'll go, right, another 50. Then it'll go another 50. Then another 50. And it's just to the point, like you are burning on the inside. Like that lactic acid is running through your body. And it's like, this is unbelievable. Now, I remember first doing them sessions, I'd probably get through about 2 rounds of pads with the guy. And that'll be me absolutely finished. But we're now at the stage where I'm probably doing half hour, 45 minutes straight of pad work with the guy. Then doing a couple of rounds on the bag, then going and doing an hour of sparring, then going for a run after the sparring. It's just like, as he's always said, fitness is key. He was like, 9 times out of 10, your fitness is what's going to win you the fights.
What you were saying about not being praised during training, I think that's to keep, to see who's mentally strong enough for it, because we had the same. I couldn't get my head around it at the Ultra White Collar event. We'd be in the gym for an hour getting told to go home. There's no point us being there. You're rubbish. And at the end of the night, they would say how brilliant we've done.
Yeah.
It's been like completely mind, like, I know, you've just spent an hour telling us how I like to, but it didn't whittle down people who thought boxing's a game. Yeah. So one thing, like as Matt's always said to me over the last 3 months that we've been doing this, you can't play it being a boxer. And I think a lot of people, as me, like casual fan, you watch it on the TV, and it just looks like 2 people hitting each other with pillows. Well, that's easy to do. Yeah. But I think no one realises the danger of the sport. And I think like being like that, if you give someone an ego and something like that, they're going to get hurt because they're going to go into keeping you humble. I think keeps you sort of alert for the danger of the sport.
I also think as well that, like Ashley is showing, and I keep saying this, and me and Lee have spoke this week privately, and he's going to print me a shirt, because every podcast I say, boxing is not a sport, it's a business.
Yeah.
Like you are, at the end of the day, you're putting your life on the line for people's entertainment.
Yeah.
And you need to protect yourself, and this is that, and that's what I can see you're doing, actually. Like going, yeah, all right, I had that fight, got the W, but I want to change it up. I'm going to go somewhere else, and then after another thing, you're just protecting yourself, learning more, putting more in the bank.
Yeah,
putting more knowledge in the bank. People say, oh, you know, I'm going to stay loyal to one gym. In my opinion, that's bullshit. Do you know what I mean? You go to whatever makes you happy. You go to 6 or 7 different other gyms. Yeah, have your team, have your corner team, what you feel comfortable with, whatever. But another gym might not show you what the other one does.
Yeah.
Does that make sense? And mate, what you're doing here is quality.
That's what it was. It was even in my victories. I'm my worst critic. I will, even in fights that I win, I look at the fights and go, right, oh, I got caught there. Why did I get caught there? Why have I done this? Right, I need to do this. I now need to do this, because I'm looking at it as if I was the opposition and go, right, I could have got him there. I could have got him there. I could have got him there. And it was like, right, I need to become this all-round fighter that I need to be able to cover that side. I don't just want to be a one-trick pony. Oh, because it used to be, I've always only got a jab. And it would be, I'd basically a whole round, I'd just use my jab. But then it was a case of, right, now we're going to start bringing in the rights. You 1-2s, then you slips, then you 1-2 slips, 1-2 slip, back off, get back in on them. And it's, like I say, adding those blocks on each fight at a time. What's the next step? What's the next step? What's the next step? What's the next step? How can we up the levels of our intensity and our training and what we can do? And I noticed the progression of the fights, even though we weren't focusing so much on certain techniques of boxing or throwing these big combinations or anything like that, because they said to me, you can throw 6-punch combos, but when you're going to do that in a fight? They said, it's going to be your single shots, your 1-2s, your counter shots. They said, those are your effective shots, and that's what we're going to work on.
One thing we noticed with your last fight, every shot that you did meant something. There was never a wasted shot. And like even the way you won it, it was 2 body shots to the exact same point. So it was like you knew every shot that you did had a meaning behind it. So you weren't wasting nothing.
No, not at all. See, that's the thing. I've learned how to use me jab in so many different effective ways. Like, you've got your pouring out jab, you've got your finding your distance jab, you've got your assertive jab. If they want to walk forward, that you give them something that makes them not want to come towards you. And then once you've established that and you realize they're standing just that step off you, you're thinking, right, now I'm going to start stepping in on you. And like they say, like so many people say, boxing is a game of chess. You got to think about your next move, and you got to think about what's going on. So you establish that first shot. Once you know that's there, then put your next shot on. Then put your next shot on, but always have that one step ahead of what your opponent's trying to do. Because that's what I knew in that last one, that in the fight that we had on the 9th of December. I hit him with, as soon as that bell went, I hit him with a jab straight away. And then I could see he didn't want to come forward. I'm like, right, so I know he's going to wait for me to come forward and try and catch me with that looping shot or that overhand shot. And it was like, right, so I'm going to make sure as I throw this shot, I'm already moving off the line, ready for what he's going to do. Once I then saw that's what his tactic was, it was like, right, hit him with a lighter shot so he throws that shot to then expose himself so I can land my next shot. And that's what it was. After a while, he got very loose with his punches, just trying to whip them round. And I could see, because he was scared of the jab, he was holding his hands high. Once your elbows are up and your hands high, I'm going down low. Exactly. There you go. That's it. And it didn't take much. I think I landed, like we say, I landed that shot first time and he folded. And I knew from my own experiences, you can't really recover. You can't recover from a body shot in an 8-second count.
To be honest, he didn't look very conditioned downstairs either.
No. A lot of people take the body for granted in boxing, and it's quite crazy, to be honest. It's like, yeah, you might have a bit of meat down there or something like that, but if you don't condition it, when somebody hits you, it changes everything of what you've got. And like I say, well, it's only because I've been dropped with body shots in sparring that, like I said, I've felt for a week, like the bruising on the inside, like the ribs and stuff like that. And it's, even with an 8-second count, well, you're not going to recover in that time. So if I hit somebody with a body shot and they've dropped, I know full well I'm going for that spot again, because that's now softened completely up. And it's tender. And if I hit you again, it's like when somebody hits you in the same spot, they don't have to hit you hard, but they just continuously hit you in that same spot. After a while, it just breaks.
Chopping the tree down.
Exactly that. And do you know what? I heard that so long training, because I'm a tall guy. So I used to hear people saying, go for his body, go for his body. So I'm thinking, there's something about this body. I need to start doing the body. And it's in a way the better way, in my style, with the way that I fight. I feel it's a lot more effective in terms of, you've got a lot of people out there with phenomenal head movement. So what do you do with somebody who's got good head movement? You attack their body. If you can break their body down early enough, you're going to stop their head movement, and then you can start picking where you want to go, head, top, or anything, because you've slowed them right down. And it's getting them right shots at the right times and doing the right things. You've
just signed with Checkmate.
I have indeed.
Why did you sign with Checkmate?
In God's honest truth, they wanted me. There's no other way around it. You know what? I've known Kelly and James for a good amount of time. Been down there, even when I've been training for fights and stuff, I've been going to their gym to get some different sparring partners and different tips and techniques and stuff like that. And we've stayed in contact. I mean, that's the thing about boxing community. If you're honest and you're genuine, you just pick up friends and networks wherever you go, and you all start helping out each other. And basically, Kelly turned around to me and said, one day, it was, what are you doing? What are you doing with your boxing? Because I think when she'd actually approached me, I'd obviously won that heavyweight title that I said about. I'd then won a cruiserweight title on another promotion. I then won a heavyweight Southern Area title with another promoter. And it was a case of, well, you're clearly dedicated. You're clearly doing things. She says, but what are your next steps? I went, oh, I don't really know, because she says you're doing a lot and you're not being rewarded for what you're doing. And the other thing, the white collar scene is in a way quite dangerous. Like the amount of times I've been on different fight nights, and it's not until I think sometimes I've even had a fight and they've not even told me who my opponent is until I've got there on the day. And that's something that's completely changed over the times now. Is we train to the fight we're going into, and I've seen some people be on the bad side of those last minute arranged fights, and I've seen friends get hurt, like friends get seriously hurt, and then when you find out after the fight that this guy's had God knows how many fights, or he's got some other fighting background and stuff, and they've just put him in with this guy, and you sort of think, you're just making you guys are making money out of me. I'm putting my life on the line for entertainment, but you're risking my life for your pockets.
Yeah.
And it was like, nah. I can see why the white collar scene gets such a bad rep in certain fields with certain promoters and certain things. So she basically turned around and said to me, obviously, James, I've signed James, and you've come to a couple of fights, said this is what he's doing, this is what we can offer you, this is your potential earning platform, this is what it can do for you. And it's like, so what? Why not? Let's go for it. It's like you say, I put so much effort into everything that I'm doing. Let's try and get a bit of a better reward, or a bit more recognition out of it, type of thing. Maybe we could actually go somewhere with it, because I'm not somebody who does something half-heartedly. I will always put 110% into everything. I'm doing it properly. Otherwise, what's the point of doing it?
Yeah. And
people saw that hunger, and they go, you can do something. And it was quite an honor to me in a way, because obviously Kelly's only firstly signed James, a partner, fiance now. Congratulations, guys. And it was for her to approach me and ask me to be on her platform. It was like, you obviously see something in me because you're a professional coach. You've got a background. You're trying to build your roster. You obviously think I'm good for you. Otherwise, you wouldn't be picking me. So maybe I'm a bit better than what possibly that I'm thinking. So yeah, let's go and see what the potentials are. And that's, again, it's just spurred me on to work even harder and push even more, because like I said, out of nowhere, I got that first title fight, which I don't think they expected me to win. So I thought that to myself. I was like, do you know what? I now need to train like a champion, because somebody's going to be coming to take this off me. And the way that I look at boxing is, you're in my house trying to take my stuff. You ain't taking nothing from me. Yeah. I'll fight to the death before you take anything off of me. You know what I mean? And I always said it. I said, the day that I lose with the coming forward, boy, that's going to be one hell of a fight for people to watch, because they're going to see two guys that are absolutely gunning for that victory. Because I don't back down. Like I say, the harder it gets, the harder I push. There is no backing off. It's like, if you like the good old parents say, if somebody hits you, you hit them back twice as hard. And you go back into them ones, and it's where people say, oh, you've got to have that fight or flight mentality. Mate, there is no flight in my mentality. It's fight, and it's keep on fighting. You keep on fighting. You have to put me on my deathbed before I stop fighting. You know what I mean? And I've really fallen in love with the sport, but not just the sport itself, but the science of the sport. Because I've done the Hatton training boxing instructor class. So I've just passed my level 3 as well. So I'm an elite instructor. You know, that again, people say, oh, why are you doing? Do you teach your own classes and stuff? I went, no. I was like, I've actually come here to learn little basics again that I can then adapt into my fight to then make me a better fighter. And it was over the time of doing my fights and stuff, I got a bit complacent, and there was little things that I was forgetting to do. And going into them hand classes, it made me remember them fine little details, but the smallest of details that makes such a big difference. in the fight. And coming back from those, I remember going sparring after I'd finished them courses, and the guys were saying to me afterwards, like, where have you been? What have you done? How have you learned this? I says, mate, this is me just doing them courses on learning how to teach people fundamentals that I've remembered, basic things myself that you'll forget about. And you hear it across the board in professional boxing, especially when you see somebody getting sort of one-sided against, oh, that other boxer needs to go back to the fundamentals. He needs to stop trying to do this. He needs to stop trying to do that. He needs to go back to basics. And that is the one thing that everybody says. You've got to have the basics and the fundamentals right before you then start trying to put other things on top of it.
Basics wins fights, actually.
Yeah.
Basics. You could be as flash as you want, but when it comes down to it, it's the basic that wins.
Yeah. And I've understood that, and I think that's what's helped in my composure and what you say of being so calm, is because I'm not thinking I need to do this, and this. It's, I've got to land this. Bang. Okay, I've got that one. I'm going to land it again. What, you think I'm doing that? I'm going to do this. And it's being confident in my ability. I know my fitness is there. I know my strength is there. I know my speed is there. And it's just doing the right thing at the right time, not rushing. Just taking them, like I say, them little steps at a time. And I would have loved to, as much as I love the fact that I got that first round stoppage in the last fight, I would have loved to have done the 4 rounds just to show everybody what happens after each round. Because I come out in a way that the next round, my intensity is coming up again. And then the next round, my intensity is coming up again and again. So as my opponent is declining in between each round, I'm ascending. So the balance of that feat. So by the time it comes to them later rounds, it looks like an absolute brutal. It looks like I'm absolutely destroying the person because I'm just stacking up that next bit.
Yeah.
And then again, going back to the original Why Checkmate, like I said, they've seen the progress I've made, and they're the ones that are willing to take the risk with me, but they obviously want to promote and show. And I can't say no, really, to be honest. It's one of them ones. It's like I say, I'm not going to keep fighting in a scene where that my health isn't at the forefront of what's going on. And that's one thing that I can say about Kenny and James is they really care about their fighters. They care about everything, and you can't really ask for anything more from your coach or your team around you, that they've got your health at the forefront of what they're doing. It's not just, oh, we're going to get you in fights so we can take our fee and you can go, because like they say, I've got a missus, I've got 2 kids. I've got to come home to them every day, and she doesn't want to be the one responsible to turn around and say, it's because of my bad decision making that this has happened to him. So it's that trust factor as well. I know them. They've never done any wrongs by me. They've always looked after me. They've never lied to me. So why not go with them? It's another step.
Yeah. Well, to be honest, obviously we was there on the 9th of December. And obviously Lee, as he says on every podcast, he is a casual fan. But I know I've been to loads of shows myself, worked on them, and the care that I personally see with the medics being there, and watching you guys come out of the ring, winning or losing, that you're still walking out of that ring and you're still being cared for. Like I've got mad love and respect, especially what they've done for me and Lee. Since we've joined forces, I've got mad love and respect for them.
Yeah.
Like they are unreal, and we ourselves will hopefully help them push them to bigger, better things on every show. And we'll try our best with that ourselves. But that's what I love the most, is you guys. No matter when there wasn't. After every fight, the winners win, they're celebrating. Of course they are. They deserve to be. But the losers weren't like, oh, do you know what I mean? Like they weren't. They was like, okay,
Okay, fair enough. The better man won. Yeah.
Yeah, yeah,
And that's how it needs to be. Like you've got to go into you've got to have in the back of your mind going into the ring, I might not win this, but as in myself, if ever I lose a fight, it's going to be the better man won on the day. Can't take nothing back from it. Can't kick off about it. It is what it is. If it was a close fight, call for the rematch. Train even harder. Get back in there, do it again.
Yeah, yeah. So what's next for Ashley Haymaker Hedges?
Well, I think Kenny's aiming to get me on the March the 12th show in Coventry again. That is hopefully when my professional debut is going to be. We're going to be starting camp as soon as the New Year's in. So I think 2nd of January, we're getting straight into the gym with my new team now. And yeah, we're just going to get to work. I can't wait, because even leading up to me last fight, me and Kelly have been talking a lot, and she's been giving me little things to work with and different circuit plans and trainings to things and do. And it's helped so much. And it's been perfect. It's everything that I've always been looking for in my boxing to be going forward. So I'm more than ecstatic about getting back in there and just doing things at now a professional level. It's like, right, now we're in the big leagues. Now let's really see what I'm made of. Let's see if I can make a dent in this sport. Let's see if I can make a name for myself. Let's see if I am as good as people keep telling me I am.
Right, so the last and final question, Ashley. You're stuck on a desert island. Yeah. And you're allowed to take 3 boxers with you, past or present.
Okay.
They have to be pro.
Yeah.
Okay.
You know what? I read this when you said it, and I was like, yeah, it would be with these guys. I think I've changed it every day. Every single day. So, oh God. Do you know what? I have to, the first one, AJ, Anthony Joshua. Do you know what? I fell in love, like I said, I fell in love with that fight. I've followed his career now, and I think the guy's great. Granted, after the last Usyk fight, he didn't exactly carry himself very well at the end of that one, but he carries himself very well. He trains hard. He's a good boxer. I do like him. I like his persona. Everyone's probably going to hate me for saying these good things about it, but no, to me, great lad. Would hopefully one day love to meet him. So AJ for one. Secondly, I think I'd probably have to pick Muhammad Ali.
My guy.
Because you know what? Like, weren't the biggest heavyweight, but boy, could he move them guys around. And it's how he used to get into people's heads. I'd love to learn his psychological side to it, how he does things and stuff. I mean, I obviously didn't get a chance to watch him as growing up and stuff, but as I'm getting more into my boxing now, I'm watching his previous fights and I'm watching his documentaries and stuff and going, this guy went through hell behind the scenes, as well as what he did in the ring. And he always kept coming forward. He always kept doing it. He always kept making a statement. That's why he's the GOAT. That's just why he's the greatest of all time, because it's not just what he did inside the ring, it's what he did outside the ring as well. So, yeah, Muhammad Ali for me second. I've got a tough one now for the third. It's either between Conor Benn or Canelo, to be fair. I think I'll probably have to say Canelo. Again, guy's work rate is insane. Mentality, insane. Body shots, insane. I want some tips, man. I want to be taught by one of the Mexicans, because these Mexican boxers, they're a different breed.
100%.
You see it across all the board now. Like, I think there's a couple of times I'm watching fights and it's like, oh, there's this guy, he's from Mexico. I'm like, yeah, watch this Mexican win this one. And then out of nowhere, they do. It's like they're training something else. Their mentality is something different. And I'd love to do some, in a way, overseas training, some abroad training to know what these guys go through and how it is different from the English side of things. So yeah, Anthony Joshua, Muhammad Ali, and then Canelo Alvarez. Those would be my 3.
Well, thank you very much, Ashley, for coming on.
Thank you very much for having me.
Really enjoyed having the chat.
If people want to reach out and support you or talk to you, where can they find you?
So I'm on Instagram, A Hedges Boxing. I'm also on Facebook. Just search Ashley Hedges. I'll be up on there. There's links over my Instagram and stuff for any of my upcoming events or upcoming fights. There should be like a little press release thing coming out very soon as well, like for any sponsors that want to get in touch and involved. So yeah, watch this space. Hopefully the name Ashley Hedges will be something that people will be screaming from tower blocks and stuff for a very soon time. So yeah, really looking forward to it.
With your attitude and your hard work, I don't see why not.
Thank you very much.
Thank you very much, mate.
Thank you for coming on. Remember, guys, please hit the subscribe button because it helps us out so much. And Happy New Year to everyone. And we'll see you next year.
Thank you.
See you next year, guys.